Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys.
Thank you for joining BIM One Talk, presented by Bimfili broadcast sponsors Göktekin, Unity, Bimcrone, and Dorçe. Dorçe is our newest sponsor. My name is Ece. Today I will be your moderator with Cenk.
Hello, guys. Again.
Yes. Maybe, Cenk, you can give some brief information about Bimfili before moving to our guest.
Okay, we are so excited about this broadcast. We are doing local ones in Turkish, but international ones are very important for us too. This one will be with BIMCorner team, and you will see the guys here. But before we continue the broadcast, there could be some technical problems. If we shut down from the broadcast, just use the relink. Please do not leave the broadcast. We will continue to our show again. If you have any questions,
happens.
Yeah, exactly. If you have any questions, please write down on the YouTube comments area. Then we can ask your questions directly to our guests. Okay, let's meet the guys. Okay.
Yes, so the topic today is BIM adoption across countries, Norway versus Turkey. It is quite explicit, actually. We will be discussing the situation in both countries. Our guests are from Norway, members of BIMCorner team, Marcin, Ignacy, and Konrad. Now they're on live. Thank you all for accepting our invitation. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello,
guys.
Hello, guys.
Thank you. It's great to have you with us. So can you tell us about yourself very briefly?
Yeah, yes. Sure. Maybe yes, Marcin, you can start. So just go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Ignacy. I can start then. My name is Marcin. Marcin Pszczolka is my surname. So I'm from Poland, but living in Norway 7 years now. My background is a civil engineer. But my domain is infrastructure, and I worked as a road designer, railway designer, BIM coordinator on big and small infrastructure projects. And now I'm working as a BIM manager in IT company in Trimble. So I work there with the Quadri and NovaPoint software that is mainly used on Scandinavian markets. So it's briefly about myself, and also I'm a father, and I have a wife. So this is from my private
Hi to them.
life. Yes.
Okay, maybe quickly about me, Ignacy Lozinski. I'm a BIM coordination specialist. I also a software developer, so I like to combine BIM world with software development. I'm associated with BIM since 2011. Last job what I was doing, it was in Norconsult Information Systems here in Norway. I was developing a BIM management platform for infrastructure projects. Right now, I'm doing my business. I created a company. I educate people in BIM, especially in BIM coordination area. Like privately, happy father. I love sports, mostly CrossFit. Yeah, it's quick about me.
That's great. And Konrad.
Merhaba again.
Great.
Thank you. I can maybe also begin that we would like to thank you, and we appreciate that you invited us, and also on behalf of our friends that are not today with us, we have also Janusz and Konrad and Krzysztof in our team. So we are 6 civil engineers from Poland. And about myself, I studied in Poland, but did 1 year on Erasmus in Trondheim. There I was first introduced to BIM. It was in 2010. And I have worked in Norway in the last 9 years. I started as designer. Then I started to work on the construction site as a civil engineer. And it went naturally that I started to work in a tender when the project was finished. Then as a planner, BIM responsible, and currently I work as a design manager in Skanska. And on Erasmus in Trondheim, which was one of the best decisions of my life, I met a lot of people from Turkey, and I became good friends with them. So they visited Poland, I visited Turkey. It's definitely one of my favorite countries, and I love Turkish food. So if I remember still anything from my Turkish is teşekkürler and yemek.
You're really good. Yemek. That's great.
This is great. So I know everyone is wondering, like, what is Bimcrone?
Not Bimcrone, BIMCorner.
Yeah, so BIMCorner is actually, it's a blog. So we are posting articles about BIM technology because, as you heard, it's our passion, but also what are we doing for a living, or not a living, but our professions are very connected to this field. We write about BIM from different perspectives because we are 6 engineers with different backgrounds. So, for example, I'm writing about infrastructure, Ignacy about BIM coordination in structures, Konrad about construction sites and BIM and design management, Janusz, for example, about open BIM, open standards, and different software, as for example, Tekla. What else? For example, another Konrad writes about data-driven management, and ISO standards is also very popular topic now. And Krzysztof writing about parametric design. So as you see, we actually cover a lot of topics, and we try to educate people and try to also share our experiences, because I can say also it was Norway. Norway is quite advanced in BIM, so that's why we also wanted to share this knowledge with different countries. Like, for example, with our own Polish Poland, because we write also in Polish and English. So this is mainly blog. But maybe, guys, you can add something else. What I missed?
I would say like educational platform, because right now, yeah, since we are uploading articles, just articles and some kind of books, for example, but we are trying to convert it into educational platform. Where we will publish and upload different pieces of content, for example, courses, for example, books, for example, webinars. So this platform develops.
May I ask a question about it also, about BIMCorner? I am also a member of the BIMCorner. I am just following your articles. I received, I received your articles once in a week, and that's all really great. And from our audience also share with me the same thing. All articles you have shared were very helpful. Thank you. Thank you for that comment, Cansu. So, but how did you start with BIMCorner? How did you come up the idea? You have lots of guys there, and you are also working on the other. You have other jobs, and it's. I think it's not any easy doing this platform.
That's true. That's true. Actually, it was made by accident how we met.
Accident.
Yeah. It was actually an accident. Since we are working, there are 6 engineers, Polish engineers, who are working in Norway, in Oslo, and Marcin was actually a starting point for everything, because he invited us. We didn't know each other well. I knew like another Konrad and Marcin, but I didn't know the rest of the team. So Marcin knew all of us and thought it might be a good idea to just invite us to one meeting where we could meet each other, have a drink, have a beer on a pub or in the restaurant, and have a talk, and just to get to know each other and share some ideas. So we went to the pizza, we drink some beers, and afterwards we thought it might be a good idea to start something. I asked them, hey guys, since we are 6 people who have different experience with BIM, but we have quite a good knowledge about it, why we cannot share it with others? So we thought it might be a good idea to start something, and blog was the closest thing which we could imagine. So since I can code, so I created a website. Then we had a couple of meetings after this first initial meetings. Couple of IPA beers later, we came up to like the process of posting each week a new article. So in short, it is the whole story. It all started in a pub one day in 2019 in March. It was like this.
It's such a nice story in a foreign country like this. People are always looking for other guys from the same country. It's real nice, actually. So what are you guys doing at the moment? Like, what are your main activities?
Yes, I can answer on this. So basically, we are writing articles, newsletter every week, and we are interacting more and more with our readers. We have quite a lot of emails, and we are grateful for all the feedback. And we are trying to figure out how to make our site better, more clear, and what kind of improvements can we introduce. So if you have also any feedback now or later on, we would appreciate a note on email.
Maybe our audience can suggest something. Let's see.
Yeah, it would be lovely. It would be lovely.
That would be great.
Because actually we are trying to ask always people, like several weeks after we publish a piece of content, we are trying to ask people, okay guys, what do you want to read about? Because we have a lot of things going on in our heads. We want to share the knowledge, but it's better to just ask an audience to get the best results.
Yes, and often thanks to that we get new ideas for articles that are useful. So it's both for so it's good for everybody.
This story is actually. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Just go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, it's a similar how Bimfili founded. Actually, maybe Cenk can mention it later. Like, we want to spread the knowledge. Everyone knows something, but we are all holding a different part of an album. This is how we come up. But please continue.
Excuse me, sorry.
You can continue, please. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just since you guys know our story, maybe it would be nice if you give us some details about your story, how
about
Bimfili, how it happened, what it is, and how it was created.
Let me answer that question. Actually, thanks for that question, by the way.
It's natural. I'm a curious man.
Actually, it was 2 or 3 years ago. We were a group of guys from all around in Turkey. There were engineers, architects, students, people from academic world. The main reason we would like to learn more about BIM and share our knowledge with us. Then we start to have meetings between ourselves. Then one of the guys said that why don't we invite other people, then we can share our knowledge with them. So we invited some people, and they invited some people, and at the end of the day, we expanded. Then the same guy said that why don't we organize an event so many people comes and we can discuss about them. And we organized an event. Lots of people came before the COVID process, of course, and we continued those events. Then let's found to Bimfili. Then we went to universities. We did some workshops. We tried to tell about BIM. We tried to understand about BIM. At first, we thought we know everything about BIM, so we are the leader of our industry. But then we understood that we know nothing because of our guests. They start to teach us something. Then Bimfili started its journey. So actually, it's a journey for us to learn something, just like this one. We are learning lots of things from you guys. So our audience are just like this, and if we would like to invite new friends, new guests here, and we would like to share our knowledge. So this is the main idea of Bimfili.
Got it. It's noble. It's very noble. Good to hear.
Yes, and I think it's quite. I think it's quite typical for, especially after finishing university. We think that we have all the knowledge in the world. Then we
exactly.
working.
You face it reality.
Suddenly you do not know anything.
Yes, actually, to teach it, you need to learn it first. So when we are trying to learn it, then we start to teach to other people. So this is a simple rule for us.
And how many guys you are in the Bimfili? How many guys?
Yes,
Bimfili.
actually, the main guys, the core people, we have actually 10 people. We are working
in the core team.
Yeah, 10 people, but not everyone show on the broadcast. So we are discussing what we are doing on the background, who will be our next guest, or which university we need to go. So we are discussing each other. We are doing some separate meetings between us.
Yeah. Maybe we can move on to the Norway versus Turkey part. I'm sure
exactly.
are waiting for it.
Yes.
Of course. So is it really a paradise there? Everything is perfect. Like, I mean, what is the situation on Norwegian markets? I really wonder.
Because from our side it looks like that. Norway.
Yeah, but it's always a little bit of marketing and promotion of big companies. But you know, when we describe the market, the Norwegian market, the use of BIM in Norwegian market, it might be difficult to just describe it as a whole. It's nice to just divide it into several, like the pieces. For example, from designer perspective, I see the huge use of BIM in many different companies, like the mid-sized companies and the big engineering consultancy companies like Norconsult, Multiconsult, or the big players. They are using BIM since 2010 plus, even earlier. So they started like from the small steps. They started using 3D models as a 3D models, not BIM intelligent 3D BIM intelligent models with full of information. So they started like from scratch, and afterwards, after year by year, after project by project, their development progressed. So the situation what we have here with, from the designer perspective, I can see like BIM is used in many different phases, like a conceptual phase when BIM is used for existing condition, for capturing existing conditions, like with laser scanning on drones. I also worked on a project where there were performed the site analysis, sun analysis to make the site as sustainable as possible. What else? I worked on a project where where cost analysis were performed, for example. So the hospital client needed a cost database. How the costs of the construction will progress through the lifetime of the whole structure. So there are a lot of different BIM uses which are right now developed, but Norwegian market didn't start down there. They started just from the normal 3D thing, they just build the model. Okay, we have a model, and then they progress it. So they add the value, additional information into it, and they just try to check how we can use this information in the next project, how we can progress in the use of BIM in the next projects. So, for example, right now, I'm sorry, you need to stop me because I'm a very talkative person, but the last thing which came up to my mind, for example, they are using the designers right now. It's very popular, the DDD approach, design-driven design approach, where, because normally when we talk about BIM, we are talking about model-driven design. So, for example, we are creating a wall, and we are creating a wall in 3D. But design-driven, data-driven design is an approach where we actually put a data into a database. For example, there will be a wall, some dimensions of the wall, and afterwards we create a 3D. So this approach is also starts to be very popular here in Norway. So it's something worth considering and learning. And I encourage you guys to check Konrad Fugas, our colleague, articles on our blog. He's writing about it. It's very cool approach, and I think it's the future of BIM mostly for facility managers.
It's great, actually. Yeah. It's a quite popular topic nowadays.
It's very, very popular topic.
But from infrastructure perspective, I need to underline that this is in structures, not in infrastructure projects.
Exactly, exactly. Infrastructure, it would be very difficult to implement from the day one. Maybe Konrad, could you give us some details about like the contractor company, because you are working there, so you have the broader knowledge about it.
So you made the marketing, now I will reveal the truth.
Exactly.
No, it's I agree with you, Ignacy, that designers started using 3D models and put more data information there. Traditionally, contractors are one step behind, so 3D models have been used since quite a long time, especially for surveyors, survey engineers. But from my experience, I see huge differences between companies, both between huge companies of like Skanska, 3,400 people, and smaller companies. And in the bigger companies, there are differences depending on the project and the project team. So it can happen that one project has high demands from the client when it comes to BIM, and it has a good experienced team. Then it can be even like a drawingless project that we have examples in Norway. But on the other hand, that can happen that there are not huge requirements from the client, and maybe there is only one BIM coordinator that has some experience, and suddenly all this great view of use of BIM in Norway shatters in a second, because people are still using 2D drawings and handwriting and printing hundreds of documents. So it's actually quite a big difference.
Marcin, you want to add something?
Yes, so maybe I can also describe the perspective of the owner of facilities or the asset management owners. So there is a few public authorities like road administration, but railway, and of course building administration. So they how they work now, this is the trend that we want to create common standard for industry, because road designers, road project have different standards, structure has different standards, so they want to connect them and create one common template, let's say. So this is very
up-to-date topic.
Up-to-date, yes. And also the smart processes. So of course we want to work as owners, they want to work smarter, involve more people to the project, but in the very early phase. So they want to also be a part of the project. So it's happening that actually the big projects, they try to start together with designers and contractors very early, and try to also help them during the whole process. And it's also, for example, in Norway, VDC methodology. I think Konrad will also talk about this later on, but this is also how we want to combine all together and how we want to shorten process, deliver faster, but also higher quality. So they focus a lot on these topics. And of course, asset management, because if we have now a lot of BIM projects, how we then treat these BIM projects after all. So we have these very complex projects. So all asset management, digital twin, we call it now, all databases they want also handle. So this is very, very popular now, and also joining the two words is also very common now, GIS and BIM. This is also the next step, I think, in Norway, that we want in Norway actually join these two words, that and there is some projects actually now in Norway, in infrastructure world, where they try to actually implement this approach. So I think this is the key in this in the case of the owners, that one standard involve a lot of people.
Singapore has actually achieved something like that, right? Just information, and they also combined all the model and so on. So Norway is actually doing kind of a similar thing. Also, some cities have this kind of information, like Berlin, if I'm not mistaken, London and so on. So
yes.
It's great.
Yes, probably.
But this is long run. This is nothing like which will happen in a day or two. It's a long run, and this is a very long process. So it's involved a lot of people, a lot of different stakeholders. So yeah, we need to patiently wait.
Exactly. This is really important. In Turkey, we love shortcuts.
Everybody loves shortcuts.
If you can give some advice about shortcuts, that would be perfect.
Of course. If I will make a one push-up and have a big guns,
exactly.
So why not? But it doesn't happen like that.
And I want to add one thing, because I don't know what is the focus now in Turkey, but also ISO standards generally in Norway is very hot topic as well. So everyone wants to first understand it and then implement it, but also the owners really think about these things.
Yes. Actually, I would like to ask that, but I'm curious about the one thing. You mentioned perspective from designer, contractor, from the client. Those are all very important. But as a country, how has Norway achieved this level of BIM use? By the regulations? It's not just one person's job, so everybody needs to put his or hand to do this job. So how Norway achieved this?
I think the one of the biggest factors which caused that BIM was so broadly implemented in the industry was the government and the governmental institution who mandated to use BIM very early on in 2010. For example, Stadsbygg is one of the governmental institution which is creating governmental buildings. And in 2011, they created BIM manuals and BIM requirements documents, which mandate that each of their projects will use BIM in a specific scope of work. They set already the standards. So as a company, it's quite difficult to change your approach of doing something. If, for example, you are a CAD company and someone will tell you just change to BIM because it's cool, because it's 3D, and you will it will save your time and money in, for example, 5 years. most probably you won't do it. But if the government will say, okay, all our projects right now will be mandated as BIM, and you have to know how to use this methodology. So suddenly everybody was interested in it, and suddenly everybody was trying to implement it in their on daily basis. So I think that the Norway is achieving such a level because of a small market, but also mainly because of the governmental institution and their awareness of BIM and its beneficial factors to design and construction process.
Yes, I can just fill up that, of course, there are the BIM requirements set by authorities, and still there is this bottom-up approach, a practical approach from, for example, designers and contractors that want to work in a more efficient way. And since so there were the requirements from the states, and the software companies had to work on different solutions, and at the same time, often or sometimes before, designers started to look at those software solutions and use it. So I think it's a really good example as a country that those two approaches match quite well, and there is also willingness for use of BIM from the people who are designing and building.
Exactly.
I can also maybe add something from my perspective.
Of course, please.
Because I am representing here the IT world, I can say, or I'm working for a producent of the software. So it's very I don't know if you guys know that in Norway is a lot of companies that actually sell and develop or develop and sell the software. So there is a few quite known companies, as for example Catenda, BIMsync, this is a software from Norway, or Rendra, they have a StreamBeam. There is a Dimensions 10, they have like AR solutions or a VR solution. There is a different like also Powell and Derofus mentioned before. So actually this environment also is quite demanding, and they competing each other. Yes, so also they deliver better and better solutions. Besides that, they also you can find a lot of different conferences that they also create networking. So you invite people from different sectors like owners, designers, contractors, and what is nice in Norway that they share knowledge, that you are at the conference and you actually learn from the experience from other guys, other companies. And this is very, very nice in Norway that they share and collaborate together. And also there is a few courses or even studies, like actually with Konrad, I'm attending right now one of them. And what is nice also, this is like all people from the environment, all people from different sectors working together and try to figure it out, what is the best solution, what is the best approach, and try to communicate and also share knowledge. This is actually key, I think, in Norway, that they like to really share the knowledge. And I think in many cases, like people ask us why Norway is so advanced, I think for me, this is actually the crucial part here, that Norwegian share knowledge and try to teach each other. So this is how it works.
That's an important aspect.
But by the way, guys, we have lots of questions, and one is related with Marcin's set. Let me show that question. Öykü asked this question: which BIM softwares are commonly used in Norway? Is there a dominating one in the sector, just like Revit, Navisworks, Tekla Structures? She writes all the software.
Yeah. So maybe I can begin, because actually we also should diverse that it's the infrastructure and construction. So in infrastructure, the most common used software is from the Trimble company. It's called NovaPoint and Quadri. So NovaPoint is like for designing infrastructure like roads, railways. So I can say that there is a 95% people using this software, NovaPoint. And Quadri is like a BIM collaboration platform. So in this project is very, very common. I also worked before for the Nurconsult company, and they were very big fan of the Autodesk software. So for example, they work a lot with Revit, with Civil 3D, with Navisworks, with Solibri, of course, also. So I can only cover this infrastructure part. So maybe Ignacy will cover the construction part.
Yeah, so like from a building perspective, I think, yeah, of course, the tools are not, we can divide them to design authoring tools. So 3 main design authoring tools will be Revit. For architects, it will be Revit and ArchiCAD. For structural detailing, there will be Tekla Structures. So those 3 are the mostly used. I think the 80% is used by Revit. Then from coordination perspective of the projects, so it will be Navisworks Manage and Solibri. It's not Solibri Model Checker right now, it's Solibri Office. It's called Solibri Office. And Solibri Office is mostly used on the construction projects. Navisworks is used in infrastructure projects, since Solibri has problems with long distant points. You know, it's a technical issue, but never mind. And what about CDEs, for example, common data environments? There is a BIM 360, which is quite oftenly used. I know that Konrad is using it in Skanska. I used it once in one of the projects. So yeah, I heard about Procore as well, but I never use it. There are also BIMsync is used as a CDE. So yeah, more or less.
Dalux also solution.
Dalux also is used as a CDE. So those are more or less the software tools that are used mostly in our industry.
And I have to say, Trimble Connect.
You have to say it.
So actually,
Today, remember, Marcin, today you are a BIMCorner. You are not.
Yes, but I know that we are using this.
When it turns us back.
no, we should mention in the beginning that on our blog we are not selling anything. We do not have any banners or people who pay for our articles.
We are software agnostic.
Yes.
At the same time, if we see that software is good and we have used it, we share our experience with others. And I can also add from my perspective now as a contractor. So the answer to the question is that there are some common programs, but in the end, almost on each project, you have to figure out everything from the start.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have good procedures in the company, it's handled in a better way. At the same time, on every project, we have different designers, different type of contract, different requirements. So from my experience, we need to sit for several days and see what suits best our needs. Sometimes it's Autodesk, sometimes it can Trimble or other programs. And about, for example, CD Common Data Environment, we often use SharePoint, which is very easy to use. So there is no like one good answer. Everything will work better or worse on different projects.
Yeah, exactly. Every software has advantages and disadvantages according to the job related to it. We will continue to our discussion. By the way, I really enjoy to discuss these topics, and it
So-
will come to Turkish. But we have another question might be related with it. So I would like to show it to you. And Sar is asking, how is the BIM knowledge of clients in Norway? If you compare clients to public authorities like BIM or States, by the way, if I'm not saying correctly, please forgive me, StatsB or private sector, which one has better approach on BIM?
Yeah, so I can maybe start, Ignacy, and you can continue, because I know that also Konrad has a lot has a knowledge about that. So I can say from the Banenur, Statenvejvesen, and also Nieuwweier, so it's infrastructure. So they are quite advanced and they demanding a lot. So for example, the demanding goes from the top to the down, not other countries like from the bottom to the up. So for example, they demanding in few projects already BIM level 3, and for example VDC and GIS data in a project. So they are very, very advanced. And what I said also, they working on a common standard that actually cover all of them. So they can have one schema, one template that can be used in different projects. But maybe Konrad, can you add something here, because you wrote about this article?
Yes. So at first, I'm really impressed by Ansar's knowledge about different clients, that he could name most of them. And as you mentioned, Marcin, for example, Nieuwweier, it was already when they started like 3 years ago with the first projects, they wanted to have everything in one model, everything, really. Like there was no software for this on the market, but they were saying, yes, these are the requirements. You have to come up with good solution. But then they figured out, no, it's not really possible. And now made the requirements more specific. In the end, it comes up to the people working on the project. So for example, Statenvejvesen can have high requirements. At the same time, the people working in the organization on the given project often are not experienced with the BIM technology. And it's not surprisingly, because still, especially for people who has not finished the university lately, it's something new and they need time to learn it. So on each of the projects that I have worked on, there was a need for a lot of meetings to show what are the possibilities, why we do what we do. But it's changing, and I would not point like just one authority. Maybe Statbik was the one who started, but then the others took something from them, adapted to their needs, and they are all developing. Ignacy, anything from your perspective?
Very quick, because I know that the answer is quite broad right now, but because the question, when I read the question, which one has better approach on BIM? Statsbik, so public authorities, or a private sector? I have to be frank with you guys, I didn't work on the projects from the private sector, so I always was working for more or less public institutions, like a hospital, so Statsbik, or my God, what was the name? Helsesøras. So this is healthcare institutions, and their knowledge about BIM and their expectations and BIM requirements were surprisingly very high. So I cannot compare who has bigger BIM knowledge, or who has better BIM requirements. I think governmental BIM requirements. So from those institutions, as was posted, Staten-Vives and Stadsbygg, they are more rigid and they are more clarified and standardized because they are written in a documents. So that's why those clients are good to work with, but because they have standard documentation which describe the BIM requirements, as well they has already a quite broad experience working on and implementing BIM in their projects. So that would be my quick answer. Sorry.
Yes.
Those are very good answers for that, and thanks for the question, answer.
Thank you, Ansar, for asking us question. It was a good question.
So maybe we reserve now the question, and I will ask you something. So how does the use of BIM in practice look in the Turkey? So can you give us some examples? Because I know there is I know two companies from Turkey. It's one is Prota Engineering, yes, and another is Gulermak. And I know that they were awarded in Autodesk as Excellence Award. Can you tell a bit about this?
Yeah, we know the Prota. They are one of the companies in Turkey, special on BIM. Actually, it's a little bit difficult question for us because in Turkey, every country has a strategy to adapt to BIM process. In Turkey, it comes from the private sector. There are lots of projects goes on, but there's no strict regulation from the government side for our project. So we are a little bit free whether use BIM or not. But some of the private sectors and firms choose to use BIM, and they ask us to use BIM in their regulations. But it's a very new. We have transportation municipality, if I'm saying wrong. They published a regulation now in Turkey about the transporting project. They need to use BIM. So this is very
mandatory.
Yes, this is very brand new. So it is very good for us, but apart from that, the government, there is no strict rule for us. But there are platforms, Building Smart. There's a people in Turkey, Building Smart Turkey. Those guys are really working hard, and there are some teams. They are putting some regulations for Turkey. I think they will publish those ones in near future. There are some firms just like the Prota. There are lots of other firms, especially for international projects. We need to use BIM. If I remember, do you want to add anything else, AJ?
Actually, you summarized very well, but maybe we can also mention a few good things. For instance, in Istanbul Technical University Engineering Club, they organize Design Together contest to create BIM awareness among the students, architecture and engineering students. Also, there are BIM-related courses are getting widespread, but still, as you mentioned, Jane, we are still following the developments in the world. There's a line, and we are, following that line from the back. So it's kind of sad, actually.
But just a quick question, if you could compare, I don't know, the projects, infrastructure projects, or architects, or structural designers, is there any special group which is, we can say, more advanced than others in a use of the BIM methodology, or even the 3D models? Because all we know that everything starts with the model.
Yeah.
Is there any special groups?
Actually,
you guys as an architect.
As an architect, we are using the BIM models, but most of the term lonely BIM. So you just put your architectural model, but nothing else comes. So most of the firms use lonely BIM, but because of the engineers already use some 3D for the models before the BIM, I think they are more compatible with us from structural engineering side. I mean, they already model to do some analytic technical things. I don't know, but maybe we can't say really strict answer. We can't give this answer.
It is mostly related with the company that you are working, actually.
Yeah, and the process, of course.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Guys, we have lots of questions actually. I have some questions for you. I know you have some questions for me, but
but the audience is the most important part. So let's start with that.
Exactly. Let's look at their questions and answer them. If we have still time, limited, if yes,
yeah, we can continue.
We can continue. Okay.
Sure. The game starts in 10 minutes, so
yes.
Okay, then. So let's look at from the. There are funny questions. Also on ask, but
yeah, if there is a question about how much we bench, so I can answer.
Okay. Let's begin from the first one. Not this one. Okay, this one. Bimcorner YouTube account is not much active. Do you have a plan to publish more videos for this platform? From Honor, this question.
Maybe I will start.
I have a question to the question. Do you want us to publish more videos? Do you prefer videos or would you like to have articles?
Yes, if you are asking me, yes.
Okay, I will just answer the question from Onur, just from my perspective. Because right now the only person who is publishing and uploading videos to our YouTube channel is Krzysztof, who is doing some videos. He's doing a great job with learning people how to use Grasshopper as mostly engineers, how to use Grasshopper as an engineer. From my perspective, I will for sure start to upload some videos in nearest future. I think from September maybe. I will. Right now, I'm focusing on creating articles, but in addition to the article, of course, I will try to supply also a quick tutorial video that just to give a better angle about the things which I explain in the articles. Most probably there will be topics related to BIM coordination, but also Revit related. I'm not saying about the
BIM is ready.
The Revit tutorials, because there are tons of them, but they're very specific Revit things which, for example, BIM coordinators need to know in their work. So those type of things. So this is from my perspective.
That's great. We would like to see them. Okay. Next question. Okay.
Aslan has a question. What is your advice to students interested in BIM?
It's a huge question. It's like
maybe like 1 point from each of you.
Maybe I will just mute because someone is boring the hall. Marcin, will you start?
Yeah, I can start. So it's actually it's the first question. What are you studying? It's like a civil engineering or architecture. So if you, for example, are a student, so you should maybe first
specify,
or focus maybe on the field you are interested in, and then it's also great that if there is no BIM education at university. So in my opinion, what I have done, I, for example, wrote master thesis about BIM. So this could be a first case for you. If you are still a student, just think how you can use your knowledge or what you, for example, get from your videos, guys, or from our articles, and just try to do some case using some tool and describing how you achieve the results. So I think this is great, because then you have also some portfolio you can use after all when you are searching first job. It's always great to show that, hey guys, I just did it on my master thesis, and in my case it helped, and I got a very nice job because of my master thesis about BIM.
It was actually a great idea. Yeah. Great advice.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Neslihan Denkdeniz asked, do you plan to organize university visits in Norway or other countries and share your experiences?
Maybe, can I take it, or?
Yes, take it.
Of course.
Take it. Okay. Do you plan to organize university visits? Actually, we did it. We did it in 2019. We visited 2 Polish universities. It was a free event. There was a lot of people who attended. It was our start of the blog, but it was quite surprising for us that for the second event in Warsaw University of Technology, they came like 400 people. Maybe it was because it was a free admission, but even though it was a great success for us. So we, because the COVID, for sure, such conferences couldn't be performed. But right now, in the future, we are trying to figure it out how we could organize different such an events in different countries. We were once asked about creating such an event in Sweden, in Stockholm, for students. That's just to give them a brief intro to BIM and how it's used in different projects. And I think that also guys from the team will agree that we would love to visit different countries, especially
Istanbul.
Istanbul, or I don't know. I'm not saying Istanbul, but maybe a city around the beach. Where there is a university.
Antalya.
Bodrum.
Bodrum.
Let's go to Bodrum.
Kuşadası.
Okay.
Exactly. And for sure, we will share their experience for free.
Yes.
So
great. We can discuss on the beach.
Exactly. But being serious, we have plans to do it since the pandemic is decreasing, we can say, and we cross our thumbs to carry on with such situation. So we want to organize something, but we didn't decided where and in what extent.
Okay. Next question, because we have questions and limited time. Let's go to the next question. Ece.
Okay, I can read it. Arijan is asking, you all have engineering backgrounds. Do you have any specific difficulties during a BIM project while working with architects? He mentions, I wonder, as an architect.
Yeah, we are also an architect. So
yes,
if you have any problem with us.
Do you have any specific difficulties during the BIM project while working with architects?
Maybe put my comment.
Because just one question, because working with architects can be different from country to country. Konrad, you will tell about it?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So in Poland, the role of architect is quite important in the whole development of the project. So he's like a lead person, and it's not a case in Norway. And in Norway, there is not a huge distinction between position of architect or designer. We call them commonly consultants. So, for example, we, as if it's design and build contract, but also an owner or the client contracts the designers. He contracts different disciplines: architecture, ventilation, structural, and there is no direct conflict. and I would not call difficulties, but only challenges that we can solve together between engineers and architects. And it has been like going on since the start of history of architecture and engineering. Yeah, that there are two different worlds. Architects are more creative, engineers are more thinking in a close way. Personally, and I'm really grateful for that, work in Norway, there is a lot of understanding between different parties, and I have never had like a conflict with architect or any other discipline.
And next question, thanks for the answer, by the way.
We are lucky.
We are lucky too. Because there are lots of problems when we started to work together, but somehow we find a solution for that. But I really like to work with the guys, structural engineers. Those are they build this whole structure, and map engineers, electrical engineers, those are very difficult guys for us because of the ceilings.
They are not easy.
We try to convince them.
Yeah, exactly. And Çağatay has a question. Many offices started to work from home due to pandemic. What is the situation in Norway? Are you mostly using cloud environment for BIM projects?
Very good question, but it's actually it's the same. I can say that in different countries. In my case, I work before on a Norwegian very demanding project, and it was completely in the cloud environment. So there is I think nothing special here as well. It's easy now, and it's proven now that it's possible. So we can work from home. And I see also, looking at my colleagues, that they will actually continue working from home, because you have different now solutions that are more adapted than before. So we can share documents, we can share screens, we can actually overtake control on the screen. So if you have some support issue, you can always call someone on Teams, or it's like plenty possibilities now. So I think nowadays it's actually well developed, and we can easily work from homes.
That's great. Okay, thank you for the answer. Honor has a comment about design, build, and operating phases are handled by different companies, and nobody cares about sharing data, and there's no continuity of information in Turkey. Government must mandate BIM regulations. Yeah. I actually joined this comment.
Yeah, we all agree.
We all agree about it.
Yeah,
but
that's
is it same in Norway, or was
like
it same?
It sometimes it is, because as Onur write that someone is creating the information, and afterwards there is like the wall which filter this information. So for example, we are handing over the documentation to the contractor, and then contractor is handing over those information models, drawing sets, whatever, to the owner. And there should be a flow of those information. So everybody should know. There shouldn't be any barrier between those parties. But sometimes I see this problem, and one of the solutions is to use a proper design delivery method. So, for example, if we have a design delivery method, design, bid, and build, such delivery is very standard. is a standard one, you know. So there is a designer, he's creating a design, then there is a tender who tenders this design. The contractor wins the contract, and then you know that there are those blocks of information. But for example, if we take the IPD delivery, so there is a flow of information between three different parties: client, contractor, and the designer, and this continuity of information which owner mentioned is happening. So I think the biggest challenge is to use a right project delivery method, and I think that one of the greatest one are the design and build and IPD, because they are supporting the collaboration between three different parties, between all stakeholders of the project.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the comment, Onur, and thank you, Ignacy, for the answer. We have some comments, and Parahat, please share with us more articles and experiences. Thank you. Please share.
Thank you.
We'll do it.
And Onur has Onur has a comment. Hi guys, are you taking women in your Bimcorner team? Only the number in Bimfili, 5 women, 5 men in the team. So Onur are good follower for us. And
Onur, Ece is more than welcome in our
Lucky to be a woman now.
Yeah, she's really great actually.
Thank you.
Thank you, Onur, for that question.
Yeah, I can answer on this. That actually,
Konrad,
it's just like it was an incident that there were 6 guys that met one day in Italian pizzeria in Oslo and decided to make a vlog. And we also have discussed it internally and see advantages of having female authors of articles on our blog. So we are actually looking for guest authors. We have a hope now with one experienced girl from Southern America who could write maybe about facility management. We are trying to reach out to some architects also about writing a guest guest post. So if you are interested or if you have any good ideas, we would gladly take them.
You can email directly. They answer quickly, guys.
Yeah. Actually, this is our policy. If you go to our contact site, if you have any proposal for an article and we think it's interesting, so we would love to post it.
Why
So
not?
That's great.
That's cool for us.
Guys, we actually before this broadcast we talked with BIMCorner about the questions, what we discussed. There are lots of things here, but because of the time limitation, actually we need to end this one. For the last question or comment, let's give the BIMCorner again. Do you want to add another thing about this broadcast or this topic before we end it, guys?
For sure, we would like to thank you, Cenk and Ece, for having us in this broadcast. This was really pleasure. I would love to hear more about BIM in Turkey. I'm trying to see. I'm also do some research about how BIM is implemented in the different countries. I hope your country will mandate BIM soon. I hope for Poland that it will happen also. That's that situation. So yeah, this is from my perspective, and I hope you can invite us to sunny Turkey for some kind of university BIM.
Of course.
It's very nice also that you have a very active audience. So thank you for all of questions, because it's very nice that you try to also get something more from us, not only what we discussed before, but also something else. So thank you for all of the questions, and thank you for having us.
It's our pleasure.
And from me, I can leave with an open question, which is how can we get the best out of each other, different experiences from different countries and different projects and challenges, if there is any possible collaboration between us.
That would be great, actually. That would be great. We can plan some other broadcasts or workshops. By the way, we will end broadcast, but please do not leave the switch off the browser. I would like to GTC will continue some other things. Please don't end it.
After party.
Yes, after party, exactly.
Exactly.
And I would like to say something very small. I really would like to thank you guys, because you have other jobs beside from this one, and you are putting a lot of hard work here. So you have very limited time. You come to your home, you come to your family, and you put a lot of effort for this. Because I know this, because we are doing the same thing in our side. So this is very important. On such these events, I really like, because this Bimfili and BIMCorner give us a chance to meet each other, so we can do this broadcast. This I really like about it. So again, thank you for us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much as well.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And also, I totally agree with you that even though we do it in our free time, it's also giving, and especially with such an audience, and when we get good feedback, and generally any type of feedback, it's just satisfying and helps us to give the best of us in the our new projects.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you again. AJ, do you want to add another thing before?
No, actually, I'm really glad to have you guys. It was a really enjoyable broadcast. I'm also quite happy with, our audience's, questions too. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Remember, sharing is caring. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Poland tomorrow.
Exactly.